or I want to go, oh, I don't think you understand what I was saying in this particular. Most of the time, I just don't care. I mean, it's not just you. I just don't care. Like, I've got my own things that I want to do. Like, I feel like I have enough, like, pressures on me that I want to meet. I want to just kick back and relax and do my own thing in my spare time. So most of the time, most people, I just don't care. So it strikes some people as very cold, like, or uncaring, because most of the time I just don't care.
My first impression of you, before I'd ever met you, was that you were very cold.
Yeah. A lot of people have that impression.
We were arranging like my first interview with you, and I would write like, hey, what works better for you? If it was on this day at this time, or this day at this time, or this day at this time, and you wrote back and you go,
oh God, I'm sure I would just get to the point.
Yeah, you were like, Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday at 11 or Wednesday at 3.
No, you wouldn't even like that. It was just like WED.
Yeah,
done.
Yeah.
And it was like, you didn't have time to like play games.
Yeah.
So I'm going like, okay. And I was like, well, what time works good for you? And then it was just like
3 p.m.
No, you were just like, it was like, you couldn't put a PM, it was just 3.
Yeah.
Like, you're bothering me, guy. Go away. Go fuck yourself. I'm a busy guy. I have to porn to watch. I don't have time for you and your scheduling nonsense, okay? I've got a secretary for that.
Yeah, that's most people's impression on me. Because with most people, most of the time, I am cold. Like, you've known me now for 6 months, and your initial impression is pretty accurate. Like, that is who I am most of the time. Like, if you said, hey, Levi, I need a ride from the hospital, I'd come through for you. Like, if there was, like, some emergency, like, I would, put a lot of things off that I wanted to do, and I'd come through. But, like, day in, day out, hey, how you doing? Like, we have a lot of email interchange. I rarely say very much in my emails. And I'm like that with 99% of people. I rarely say anything beyond the absolute minimum that I have to say.
95% of your emails to me end with just okay or yes.
Yeah,
okay. It's like, that's how it went. I was like, oh, okay, so it was like, maybe, okay, so I'll be there at 3, right? And you go, fine, I'll be there at 3. And you just went like, okay. And I'm like, God, I'm sorry I bothered this guy. Then I walked in the door and you're like, so were you you started growing. Well, what kind of student were you? Were you the arrogant, busybody, asshole one, asking everybody what time they want to get together? Were you that kind of student? And I was like, oh man, And I left and I really thought I'd gotten on your nerves,
But now that's just who I am most of the time.
And you were walking me out and you were like, hey, you know what? I want to do Torah talks with you. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, are you sure? You sure you want to do that? Anyways.
Yeah, and it wouldn't matter if I absolutely hated you or if I really liked you. My interactions wouldn't be that much different. I mean, because there are times I don't like you, and there are times that I really like you, and I don't think my manner is that different. Whatever I'm going through, listening to what you have to say, or exchanging emails, or we're having a conflict about this or that. Like, if I'm really disliking you or really liking you, my manner is not that different. Like, so most people, I think, find me cold. I mean, I guess you've known me for 6 months now.
I also am curious, based on everything else I know, if females get a different treatment.
Yeah, they do. Females who I like, definitely.
Females get if they're single, they get a different treatment.
If I really like them, like, a lot of females make me feel very warm. Like, they bring out a different part of me. Even if they're married, it's not because I'm trying to sleep with them.
Oh, right. You were flirting with that married chick. You told us that. Right.
Yeah, but her I was even having fantasies about sleeping with. So even those that I'm not thinking about sleeping with, but there are some people who my otherwise cold heart warms up. Those are predominantly women, and there's still very few of them. But yeah, the
Are
women.
are any of them our followers, our viewers?
No, I don't know any of
okay.
our viewers. So no. So
Okay.
yeah.
Who's in the chat, by the way, at this point?
So we got Alan, Sheriff
Hey,
of
Alan.
Tortown, D. Medic, Brignoni,
Hey, D. Medic.
Gurgrega, Baba Matsia.
Brignoni is Brandon's friend. How's it going, guys?
So D. Medic is quite smart. I really like the way he spells and punctuates correctly. And so he writes, Luke, what was your relationship with your father versus your mother like? So my dad is pretty, he would strike most people as cold, except for when he's speaking in front of 1,000 people or 100 people. Then he's his most warm and engaging. But most people, most of the time, you'd strike them as really cold. So I'm like my dad in that regard. My mother died when I was a kid of cancer. My relationship with my stepmother has varied over the course of my life, but she's much more emotional than my father. So I was much more emotional with her, but I guess I'm very much like my father. My father would strike most people as cold most of the time. He's just focused on his goals. You know, he's like a man with a mission. I want to accomplish this, this, and this, and almost all his interactions are just to the point. Okay, 3 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. It's even that way today. I know when I write like a whole chunk to you on an email, and I'll send you an email.
Yeah.
Like this whole long thing. I'll send you like this whole thing. I'll
Yeah.
take like 10 minutes. I'll write it out.
Yeah.
I'll punctuate it. 'Cause I know how you like that. And then I'll send it. And then 5 seconds later, I get a reply, and I go, I don't even have to open it. I know what it's going to say. It's going to say thank you. Period.
Yeah.
And then that's what it'll say. It'll say thank you. No, it has an exclamation point. Leave us excited. You know, that's it. I already know. I know you like a book. I know exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like thank you, yes, no, and okay. That's like 95% of your responses.
And the only exception to that are with women that I'm in love with, and then I'll write.
Oh yeah, they probably get like a whole thing.
Then they'll get the whole Megillah.
Yeah.
They'll get like paragraphs.
Yeah, yeah,
Paragraph after paragraph, and then I'll tend to date a lot of cold women. So I'll write like paragraph after paragraph, and they'll write back, "Thank you." So
that serves you right.
Yeah,
that serves you right.
The shoe's on the other foot. You know,
but this would totally go different. Our Torah talks would get like a whole different way if I had a pair of tits and a skirt.
If I like.
No, it didn't matter.
I liked them.
If I had a pair of tits and a skirt, right, I would get a whole different warm treatment.
No, because I'm cold with 99% of women too. It's just 1% of women. The rare woman, far more women than men, will warm me up.
That's true, because I said we should see how you respond to Kirsten.
Right, I
did not see you with Kirsten the same way.
I didn't flirt with her at all.
You didn't flirt with her the same way. You know why? I'll tell you why. I got a theory on that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the other ones were sitting in this chair, you were like, "Can I touch you?" And yeah, can I play with your breasts and that kind of stuff? And you were like all up in their stuff. And with her, you were very like, "Doctor," you know.
Yes.
And you want to know why? It's because that's the effect she had on you. Because she is very formal.
Yes.
She doesn't come dressed.
Right.
Like the other ones come dressed all non-serious. They got like their boobies showing, and then they're like, you know, they're like flashing the beaver for the camera, right?
Right.
And she came out like frummy dressed, and she was like, you know, very professional. This is a Sunday, but I'm getting paid by the hour. You know.
Yeah.
And she was like, in my profession, we're not allowed to show any cleavage, you know, because the patients shouldn't get aroused, because we're trying to cure them from their thing, you know, and I would appreciate if you would not be aroused by me. And Levi's like, okay, I'll, you know, down boy. That's how I think she had an effect on you. In fact, she might be good for you, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Maybe she would clear out your addiction.
My sex addiction?
Yeah. By the way, let's talk about sex addiction.
Yeah, what's the Torah perspective and Rabbs perspective on sex addiction?
God gives to every Jew, or every human being,
a
drive.
Right.
And the drive is for insatiable sex.
Yeah.
You can't be satisfied.